Well, hello and welcome back to the grind. Back with the 1976 BMW 2002. That's looking a bit better, isn't it? Now, sorry I didn't get a video out last week because I was doing some other projects, and I did have a couple of messages from y'all that are you okay? And so, yes, I'm okay. Last time I took a break from it was when I ended up in the hospital came home without a gallbladder that time. So people, old guys, people worry about them. So yes, I'm okay. I don't know what to do in the case of the days that I don't get a video up. Maybe I'll put a message out there somehow. Don't know how. Anyhow, the thanks for the concern, and I'll carry on with this. So this week here was all about painting and sanding. So you know that sanding is pretty awful boring. So you can skip through it all until it gets to the part where I actually do the painting. The painting's kind of nice, interesting. I like that. So anyhow, it looks pretty good, and I'm happy with the paint job. The clear coat this time went on nice and flat and smooth, and you can see that it's got a nice finish to it. You can see the camera in there, and so happy with that paint job. A nice deep, and I like the color. I really like the color. And I've looked it up very closely, and not a run anywhere I can't find. I can't find any runs. I don't know what I did there, but I must have done something right. So stick around, you'll see everything I did. And if you want to know what I was doing last week or last 3 weeks, I've got a link somewhere there or somewhere there's a link. Maybe in the description there's a link of just to a short video that shows what I was doing. I was out doing some mapping and droning and stuff like that on stuff I do for charity work. I don't charge anything for it. So anyway, there you go. See you later. Have fun. Bye for now. Okay, now this is going to be known as the Forever Sanding channel. Sand. So here I am back onto the 2002 BMW, or BMW model 2002 E10. Now, this, I don't know if you can, let me get a light. Light's plugged in. Oh dear. Okay, there, got a light. Okay, so can you see that ripple in the paint there? That's what happened after I put the clear coat on. Well, when I put the clear coat on, there's still a bit of it up there. So I tried wet sanding, and wet sanding just wouldn't cut it down because you're still. And then I went at it with 400 grit on that machine. Didn't touch it. So I'm down to 220 on that, and it seems to get through most of it, but there's still lots to go. So I don't know if you can see can you see that? Anyway, so I'll sand the whole car again. Then have to repaint the poor thing. Oh dear. Like this part here was all like that, and now it's fairly smooth. Still some more to get where the little sander couldn't get into, so I have to do by hand and down in here, but I'll get that out of the way. And just now I have to cover up this with tape before I ruin it anymore. So I'll get taping on the bright bits, and then I'll go back to sanding. So tape, sand. Oh dear. Yeah, so that's before. Well, that's sort of after, but before. Maybe I'll just put that hood up out of the way for a bit here. Wait a minute. Yeah, so now I'll go ahead and sand off that area there. Am I looking the right way? Pretty close, eh? Okay, here we go. Yeah, so it's still gummy underneath there. I don't know why. But if you ever, like that's not much that. I've been switched over to 120. And so you ever fight with getting these things on with the holes in the right spot? Here's a trick. You fold it like that. 2 holes lined up. Where am I? Then line up the 2 holes on perfectly. How's that? Hey, what a trick. Anyhow, coming along, but it's still more to go. Yeah, there's another one all gummed up, eh? That's the base coat was never ever, still isn't dry. But I'll get that gummy stuff out of there. I'll just keep on working at it. Okay, a couple hours later. Still got a couple hours to go. The I've switched up to 80 grit, and that makes it come off a bit faster. But it feels there's just a bunch of crud on the surface. I can feel it. So I've got to do this side, and I've got the roof done. So I've got this bonnet done, mostly a little bit there to do. And there was a bad spot here that I think I've got mostly that stuff out of it. And then I've got the where am I? Back here. Got the rear bonnet done. There was a bad spot here. Now I'm gonna go over it and wash it all down again with my cloth and that cloth. Then I still have to do this corner back here and the back of the car. Too bad I have to do the back of the car because it's pretty near perfect the way it is right there. But oh well, good practice, right? Anyhow, the where was I? Oh yeah. So I'll finish up the bonnet, a little bit to do right there, and then I'll go over to this side, get this side done all the way back. This is where a little bit bumpy in there anyhow, so it gives me an opportunity to fix that. So I'll finish this bit here, then I'll lift the bonnet up out of the way again. Okay, there we go. Yeah, that's enough for one day. I think that was a couple of minutes for you, but 5 hours for me, or 6 hours for me. Anyhow, need to get the car wiped off and stuff like that. But for the most part, everything is dull now. And this bit here, if you remember when I painted it, there was a ripple in it right here because I hadn't sanded it enough, and I think I've got that sort of cured there. Seems to be all the bad bits, I think, are gone for the most part. I'll go over it now. Like when I got into the heavy bad bits, like in here, then I used 40 grit to just cut through them because the gummy stuff was plugging up the other. Like here, I'm going to have to do some sanding with hand here because there's a crease right there. Anyway, but we'll get that. And then this hasn't been sanded yet here. That's going to do by hand. And some at the back here, I can't get in there with the machine, so that'll be by hand. But for the most part, That'll be a day's work on it, hey? I won't bother doing running a damp cloth over it tonight because that'll just give it an opportunity to rust overnight. But I think we're warm enough now that it won't. That'll be okay. Anyway, there you have it. That'll be another start to the new paint job again, hey? Well, live and learn. Here I am. Haven't been back for a couple of days. Life just keeps getting in the way. Oh well. Last time I was here, that was a second ago for you maybe. Sanded this all down, and now I have to take my bucket full of water and a little bit of Dawn soap, and just wash it down, and then I'll sand it some more with I think this was like there was some 40 grit in here and an 80 grit, so I think I'll go down to like 220 now and see if that comes out okay. Yeah, there. I'll wash it off. One bucket of water does it all. Yeah, that's pretty boring, isn't it? Well, anyway, just to finish off this side here. And guess what's next? Yeah, you got it. More sanding. But we'll just finish this side first and then carry on. Well, I just have to finish off the tailgate here too, or the back. I haven't sanded all this yet because it's going to take work with the hand sander, but I've sanded some of it. And then have a look at the water. You can just about paint the car with the water-based paint now. Good and black that water is. Anyway, there you go. So, more sanding. Yeah, here we go. More sanding. I'll just show you a bit. Not much. Yeah, seen enough of that for a while. Have you? Here's like that gets to be not much sanding left on that. It gets plugged up and everything like that. So put a new disc on. So one disc for the roof, one disc for the front and the back, one disc for this side, one disc for that side, and we'll fit the front and back and somehow or other. Yeah, so here you are. It's that's sanded down to that much there. So I think I've got it. It feels pretty good. There's still, you'll feel some little bits of dirt on it, but nice and smooth. I'll take it down tomorrow and do 400. I've got a 400 grit paper that I can run in that machine, and that should be then good to paint. I'll have to do a little bit of like handwork and things like that. But for the most part, it's starting to feel pretty good again, and all of the ugly stuff is gone. Well, most of it. There's still a bit left over right here. Take some work with a hand sander to get that out. See right there. And then maybe a bit right here. And a couple other spots around and about. But mostly it's cleaned up good. Now one, look, if you want to look on the bright side is that all of the drips that I made on the first go around are now gone. So I've got a clean slate with no drips. So maybe it'll, like there were some drips from the, what do you call that? The original coat, primer coat. And then there were some drips from the base coat. And so they all got sanded off. There was a bunch, I don't know if you remember, there was a bunch right about here somewhere. All gone. And there was a bunch, there was a bad one here. You can sort of see the remnants of it right there. And there was one over here. You can kind of see the remnants of it right there, but that's smooth. There's nothing there. So that should paint over nicely. Anyhow, enough for today. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye now. Yeah, well, here. Yeah, I'm back at it. This is, it's been sitting here for about 4 or 5 days now. I've been occupied with other stuff. I'll show you that later, when, like on the intro. Well, you'll see it before this happens, right? On the intro, I'll show you what I've been doing lately, which is not involved with cars at all. What do you know about that? Anyway, gonna keep on sanding. This is like, that's a couple of seconds for you. I was sanding here a minute ago, but I'll just keep on sanding. This, like, just little touching bits here. Like this is rough right in here. And then there's still some, I don't know if you can see that, the way that's marked there. I'm not too fussed about that because I think that's kind of cute. But anyway, this is rough here and it needs to be sanded down on this edge. And a few other places like that just have to get with a sand hander, and then in here it's got to be sanded by hand. I'll lift up the lid and sand up, like anything that's shiny like that, have to get the shine off of it so that it will be, then the new paint will adhere to it. We hope. That's the theory anyhow. I'll just take a quick look, or like a good look around, and little stuff like that. You've got to feel it to make sure that it's flat, or else it'll show. Like if you feel a bump there, then you got to sand on it so that it doesn't show in the final coat. Same with this stuff here where it goes down to metal. I think it needs a bit of work right there. This needs some work right in here, you know, stuff like that. So I'll show you a couple of them and then I'll carry on sanding. Sand. Well, here I am. This is my little hand sander, like it's a foam block, and that's what, 40 grit or something on there. Just to get this stuff down quickly and easily. Hopefully we'll get into that edge there. Yeah, that's got that smoothed down nicely. Then this bit here. Then I'll go over this again with a finer sandpaper. about right along the edge of this. Stuff all like that. A little bit more in here. I think that'll be fine now. Now over to the this stuff, right? It doesn't take much to scuff this up. Scuff it up and then it will, well, what am I pointing at, I wonder? Just scuff it up a bit so that it's not shiny. And then over on here, like there's shiny stuff there. This one here feels good. A little bit around the edge. That's better. And this one here, I'll get in here with a finer grit paper also. Just to get the shine off it. I think everything else. This thing, there's a little bit of body putty that I never got properly sanded right there. A little bit shiny there. Anyhow, you get the idea? Okay. Yeah, now I'm ready. This is a like 400 grit. It's sort of a see-through thing. And see how that makes out, just to be the final sand before I put some paint on it. So I'm going to sand it off, then I'll touch up these little bits of bare metal with I've got a rattle can of primer there somewhere, maybe that stuff, some sort of primer. Then we'll go ahead and put a coat of paint on it. Well, then we'll go ahead and start taping, right? Oh well, that's next. Yeah, a couple hours later, right? Lots of sanding. That's all down to like that 400 grit thing. A couple little marks I should get right there. See, that's gummy. There must have been a run there. Anyway, I'll get it with the sandpapers here right away. And go over it with the comb. I think we're all right. I think it all feels nice anyhow. And my hands are tingly from running that machine. So anyway, next is maybe I'll put it up and I'll clean up the shop here, and then I'll do some taping. Get the dust out of here, tape it up, and see what we're going to do next. Yeah, sanding is such a exciting bit of stuff to do. You'd never know it, but this has been all sanded down to 400, and it feels really nice and smooth. Then I went over it with a damp cloth. You can still see the wet spots there. Damp cloth, and with a bit of Dawn soap in it, just to pick up all the dust. And then also in here and in underneath the engine. So this time I'm going to tape it up. I'm not going to use plastic because plastic is a pain sometimes. Just tape it up with the paper if I can, and see what I can do about getting it so that everything on the inside is sealed. But I'm not too fussed about getting a little bit overspray in the trunk and stuff like that, or a bit of overspray in the motor area, because it's all the same color, right? So I'm not too worried about that stuff there. And before I get it all painted up, look at that, there still needs some more, still shiny there. I'll get my sandpaper out and just unshine that. And then I'll wipe it off again, right? And I also used my thing there, the leaf blower, and blew out all the dust out of here. that was a lot of dust. So anyhow, carry on. Next is to start taping. A little bit of sanding and then start taping. Well, that was an awful lot easier than last time. Like I thought the plastic would be easy, but it's not. And then when you use plastic, it gathers the paint, right? Wait, find some of that stuff. I wonder if that's it. See how the paint is on there? Oh yeah, there. See how the paint's on that? Then if you rattle that plastic, the paint will just flake off and blow up into everything, which I found out when I was using the leaf blower, right? Okay, so I think it's pretty near ready to paint. I have to give it another wipe down with a... Well, first I've got to put that panel prep stuff on it, which I do have. I have panel prep. Wonder where it is. Wonder where it is, right here. That stuff. Surface cleaner. Contains acetone and water. Anyhow, that should take all the grease and stuff off it. And then just use rubber gloves for everything after that. So it's all taped up. Then I'll lift this up and get this part here painted from the inside, sort of. And I'm not too worried about overspray inside the trunk and everything, because that's just the way things are sometimes. And it's warm, so I guess tomorrow I'll be painting. So today, later, I'll just carry on. I'll actually go over it with the panel prep today, and then tomorrow I'll get a tack cloth on it and mix up some paint. Might even mix some paint today, but I'm going over to the neighbors to have a coffee. That's the first thing to do. Okay. Yeah, so did I show you this? There's the panel prep. So it says so I've got some in a bucket here. You take one cloth and wipe down the car with it. Just one panel at a time, sort of idea. Then take the other cloth, and before it dries, and dry it off with the other cloth. I'll show you what I'm doing. I'll just set you up in the vise. Somewhere about there. Okay. I've got the roof, the engine bonnet, the roof, and the trunk done. So just some of that stuff on the cloth. Then it says sort of let it soak in a bit, right? So that it takes, and it gets all of the contaminants and oil-based stuff off. Fingerprints, all that kind of stuff. Mostly fingerprints, I think, really is your problem. And it's actually, the car is actually pretty clean, because I washed it all down with my soapy stuff. What do you call that? Water and Dawn detergent. So if you wash it all down with that, then it gets most of the dirt off of it, and likely most of the oily stuff too. But I guess this is a mixture of acetone and some detergent, and likely water, and likely only just a little touch of acetone. So I could likely make my own stuff. Just put in a bucket of water, a little bit of acetone and some detergent. You gotta be careful if you're mixing up acetone though, because if you mix it up with bleach, you got mustard gas. Yeah, there. Looks the same, doesn't it? Doesn't change much, but pretty smooth. Don't know why that didn't, but that's a couple of shiny spots there didn't come off, which is all right, and just let that be. I'm pretty sure the paint will go on there, because it's all been sanded down to 400, and everything feels smooth now, so I think we'll be good. Now, next thing is tomorrow. Pretty well done today, so tomorrow we'll start mixing some paint and see if I can make that happen. I ordered some clear coat, which is likely equivalent to this stuff, Rondex stuff here. How much is in there? I think that's about enough there to do the car right there. Takes about 3 quarts, and that's what's in there. And that stuff there I know works well, because look at this. It's been 2 years. I think it's 2 years since I painted this, hey? And it still has a nice finish to it. And the same thing with the Porsche, is a nice finish to it. So I'm happy with that stuff. There. Okay, that's all for today. I'll see you tomorrow maybe. Yeah, slowly getting ready for painting here. I went over half the car, well, the top portions of the car with the tack cloth, and I've let down my paint booth. I'm going to take an air gun and just blow on them a bit to, you know, release any dust from it all, and then I'll tack cloth the car again. Then we'll see about getting started here. Now I've got to mix up my color concoction. I've got that and that, and then I've got that much of that, a little bit there, yeah, some there. I think that one there is pretty near empty. That's got some in it. And I've got a stirring device that hooks on the drill. Wonder what I did with that. I hung it up somewhere special. Yeah, right there. Okay, this thing. So I'll stir up all the paint with that, and then hopefully I have enough paint. I think I do. I only need really 1 or 2 coats, but we'll just see. Yeah, so there's all my colors, right? So I'll make a couple of batches of paint up. Now, I'm going to go back to the old formula of 3 to 2 to 1 for, that'll be paint, 3 parts of paint, 2 parts of thinner, acetone, and 1 part of hardener. But I'm going to only make it like a half part of hardener, because I think that's all it needs. Well, who knows? But I've been doing some listening to YouTube. I don't know if you should listen to YouTube or not, but I won't. First off, I'm going to just make a couple of barrels of the color up. I won't put any hardener in because I'm not ready to paint yet. And then I'll just cover them up and let them sit for a while, and then I'll be set to go with the color. I won't add any thinner to it, or whatever you call that, hardener to it, universal hardener, until such time as I'm getting ready, or more ready to paint. I just want to get the color set. Yeah, so color is up to the number 8 on here, and then up to the number 13. So it's 8 up to the number 15. So it's 8 parts blue, 7 parts black. Make that, well, you can't see the color very good now, but that's what it is. Here we go. Is that looking at the right spot? Pretty close, hey? So you put in your 8 parts of blue. Guess I need a piece of paper towel, right? Paint is such messy stuff. Everywhere. Just everywhere. Yeah. Paint. There's number 8 on the blue, and then on the black you get it up to number 15. Right there. That's 1 bucket full. Let's put a roof on that, right? Now I'll stir them up in a minute as soon as I get the rest of these things here mixed. So this is 4 parts of black. So to make blue go with this, I need to have 4.5. Is that right? 8 to 15, yeah. So I need 4.5, so it has to go up to 8.5 to make the right color, right? So I'm gonna call that about there. Yeah, pretty near the same amount left over anyhow. So now I gotta clean these things up. Then I'll start mixing it up. Okay, that goes there. I'll clean my big buckets. Oh yeah, with dripping paint everywhere. Anyway, I'll clean this stuff up and I'll come back to you. Yeah, I'll see if I can do this without getting paint on my camera, right? I think that's mixed up pretty good. Yeah, there you see two, that's 2 quarts and like a half a quart, right? Then when that gets thinned down, there'll be three parts of that, 2 parts of thinner. So sort of 1 to 1, be kind of 4 quarts by the time I'm done with everything, which should be enough to hopefully get that car done. If not, I'll just go get more paint, right? Anyway, that's all mixed up. That's quite a, these things are cleaned off more or less. They're cleaned pretty good. That one there is clean. So now, then I'll mix them up in a separate jar for, you know, mixing it to the thinning part. Anyhow, leave that for now and we'll go back to preparation for painting. Well, now, all of a sudden I'm ready to go. So I think I got the wheels wrapped up. Leaving that open for a few minutes till I get that part there painted. Then I'll pull that down after I get the, I'll do the roof. Maybe I'll just do that and do the front. Then let this down. And I want to do a little bit right along there too. So, yeah, that's what I'll do. So the first thing is that, that, then I'll let everything down and I'll start painting the roof and everything. Okay, that's the plan. Yeah, so there's all sorts of different formulas for putting this together. Used to be 3 to 2 to 1, and then, but that seems to make it a bit thin. So I'm gonna go 5 to 2 to 1. So 5 parts, so it'll be 10 parts, 20 ounces of paint, 8 ounces of thinner acetone, and 2 ounces of hardener. We'll try that out. What the hell? Now I'll see if I can do this without getting any paint all over my camera. So here we're going to go up to the 10 mark. We hope. Well, we'll see how this one gets out. Might have to open up another can, right? Yeah, I guess. put that to the side for a bit. Whoops. Trying to get up to the 10 mark here. There we go. Better get some paper towel out because I'm making a mess already. The paint is so messy. So that's 10 parts of paint. Then we want 4 parts of thinner. Which is all over the place now, right? Thinner gets everywhere. Then 2 parts of that stuff. And get it open. Up to the 16. There we go. Now, we'll just see how things work out, right? Okay. And I've got a trusty stir stick here. Mix it up well. Then once it's all mixed up, it's you're on the clock because this stuff here will start hardening on you. Last time I sprayed, I didn't bother putting hardener in, and I think that was a mistake. Well, I know it was a mistake. Well, some people do this and they see how long before it starts dripping like that. And I don't know how to gauge that, but anyway, that's what people do. Anyway, now that's ready to go. Just like having Tupperware. Now the paint gun, which I've got cleaned up and ready, when I set it up, you go to the initial setup. Can you see this? Yeah. So back this out, pull that to full as far as it'll go, right? Make sure it's not catching this. Then turn this in until it gets to where the paint gun, where you feel it trying to push, right? Then let that go. Then turn it in another turn and a quarter, somewhere around there, and that's kind of a good starting spot. This thing here, I want to run it at about, 28 or something psi, and I've got an air filter, water filter, air filter, water filter there. And then this part, this is the, like if you go all the way this way, you get a dot. If you go all the way this way, you get a line. So you turn this all the way out and then turn it back about a turn, and that's a good place to start. Okay, let's see if I can get the things going. Yeah, so I got that painted across there all right, and I'm not too worried about it. Getting up here, that's done. I'll get another coat on there on the top part anyhow. Now I'll set you up here and watch for a bit and see what happens. I was about to fall off of there, right? Now, what are we doing? Yeah. Okay, so here's coat number 1 on it. I think it looks pretty good. There's a couple of spots on the back here when I was painting. You can see underneath the sanding swirls, but they're right there. Don't know if you can see that or not. Hopefully it gets covered up by the time I get the clear coat on. Most part it's pretty good. So I'll let it sit for 15-20 minutes and I'll come out and see about another coat. Okay, there's coat number 2 on it. That went on really nice. Like it's just looks good, nice paint job, good garage paint job. Not a perfect paint job. Maybe a little mark right there, but can't do anything with that. I think I'm happy again. Now we'll just see about getting a clear coat on it. It sticks. A little bit of dry right there, but oh well, that'll be all right with the clear coat. We'll cover that. I think we're okay. How's the roof look? I can't see it. Can you? Don't tell me it's terrible. Now, in the back here, I don't know if you can still see them. There were a couple of sand swirls from the sander. I don't see them anymore. Maybe it's got to be down to get the light on it differently. Yeah, I think we did all right. Actually, it looks better this time than it did the first time. So I've got to be. If the clear goes on okay, I'll be a happy guy. And if you don't put clear on this kind of paint, then it'll go dull after a year. So you sort of have to put. You're kind of forced to put clear coat on it to keep it shiny. Anyway, that's enough for today. We'll see you tomorrow. Yeah, there. It's been overnight and good and dry. You have to stop yourself from touching it, right? You can touch here anywhere where the masking tape is. Now, it's you can see some sander marks on the roof here, which is, oh well, that's the way it is. You don't notice it unless you're you got to look pretty close to find it. I don't know if you can see it on the camera or not. Maybe I just get down here like this and you might be able to see it. Yeah, you see a couple of marks there on the paint. Anyway, the trunk. This is where the swirl marks were, right in here. You can still see them. One's right there. but that's there forever because it's on the you can't buff that out. Anyway, that looks pretty good though for the most part. I think I can be happy with it. So I'll put on I've got this Rondex clear coat here that I have put on the Volkswagen van, and it works pretty good. They don't sell this anymore for whatever reason. Don't know how much is in here, but I need 2 coats. It needs 2 wet coats. We'll just see how much that goes for. And so you put in 4 parts. Where is it? 4 parts to 1 parts, 4 to 1. And then the ratio I used was 5 to 2 to 1 on the painting. And that worked out pretty good. Kind of happy with the way that worked out. I wonder where my paint gun went. Oh, there it is. Okay. So we'll get at it in here and see what happens. Anyway, here. So I didn't have enough of the other clear coat there to finish the job. This one here, I was waiting for it. I ordered it from Amazon a couple of weeks ago. It takes time for this liquid stuff to show up. But I think it's basically the same stuff. It's 4 parts, 1 part. And it says exactly the same instructions, 2 full wet coats. So that's the same way to do it as the other one. And so I think this will be fine. We'll check it out and see. Yeah, I think I'm set to go. Oh, not quite. I'll do that bit in there first. Can you see that? I don't know what you can see. Oh yeah, you can see mostly everything. Okay, I'll get you going. Yeah. That didn't start very well. This air hole here was plugged, so it wasn't allowing the paint to fall through. Try again. I think it'll work now. Yeah, there's coat number 1 on there. And then, see that the roof there is kind of hazy? That's from like a bit of like the overspray stuff. Now I hope that gets melted into the next coat. If not, I'll deal with it. But I don't want to touch anything up there. It feels pretty dry here. You know, just touch it right here. I don't want to touch it with the finger. Now I'll put another coat on. Hang on, I'll just get a rubber glove on and see what happens if I touch it. Yeah, so I went over it with a tack cloth. It seems to get most of it up. I think there's still some marks there, but this is all right. We'll just see what happens when I paint it again. Yeah, so back to the Black Lagoon here. So I made up 2 buckets of it. So that's, I think, pretty near enough to do the car. So I might get away without all that overspray problem. I'll be able to do it fairly quickly. No stopping. Yeah, that worked. So I think we're okay. Then there's another, like that's just a coat of dust up there from the overspray stuff. So that'll wipe right off because it came off. But I'm not going to touch anything until tomorrow. Don't touch anything till tomorrow. It feels like it all feels dry. It says it's supposed to be ready within an hour and a half or an hour to buff, but I think a tomorrow thing is all right. I'll let everything settle in here. I just have to do a bunch of cleaning. So tomorrow I'll likely come out and pull the tape off it. Boy, that's nice. That's the way it should be, right? Yeah, you can see the camera in there. I don't know, like, yeah, there's the camera right there. That's the way it should look. That's a nice garage paint job, hey? There's lots of, down here, a little bit dry right there, but I'm not going to spray any more on it because that'll just screw up everything else, hey? Might be a bit dry there, but that'll buff up. So I'm gonna be pretty happy with that job. That's very satisfying when it comes out nice like that with no issues. I guess I'd never ever use that other product again. I think, like, you know, it's likely good for using with compatible products, but this paint that I had on here was not compatible. Might have been partly my fault too for not putting a hardener in the base coat, but the other part, the clear didn't have a hardener either, so it was supposed to be compatible that way. Apparently not. Anyway, that's what happens sometimes. And you know, I needed to do more aerobic exercises with a sander in my hand, right? Like that's a really nice looking job right there. No, like up here, a little bit of dust on it, but there's no orange peel at all. It's all just nice flat finish. Now you can still see, I don't know if you can see right there, little swirl from the sander that's way down in the undercoats. That'll never buff out, but that's okay. And everything here, all the arches are okay. Yeah, I'm quite pleased with this paint job. And I'm quite pleased with that color. I like that color. That's a nice color. That's a great color for a BMW. Maybe I should put red racing stripes down it, right? What do you think, right? Okay, that's all for today. A bunch of cleaning to do, and then tomorrow I'll come out and pull the tape and see how it looks underneath all that. Yeah, so that's the product right there. Speedo Coat Mobile Refinish Products. I got it from Amazon. Takes a little while to come. And 1 gallon is enough to do that car easily. And it could do a little bit bigger car because there's still, you know, 1 more finish left in there. plus I have my other, so I've got two things. By the time I get, I don't know how many, maybe I'll pour it into a jug and see how much there is in there for sure. Maybe, we'll see. Okay. Yeah, mostly everything's cleaned up, mess here, but I'm going to leave that till tomorrow. And I've got all the paint stuff put away. This is the gun I've been using lately, and it's a nice gun. It's a Ingersoll Rand, which I'm pretty sure isn't, I'm pretty sure it's a Japanese or Chinese knockoff of some sort, but fairly good quality gun, and it comes out with a nice smooth finish. That one's I think it's got a 1.4 tip on it, which is fairly versatile. You can use 1.4 for doing spraying clear coat. You can also use it for spraying base coat. So like 1.3 is good for clear coat, and 1.5 is good for base coat also. So, but you can't use a 1.5 to spray clear really very well. It doesn't come out fine enough. Anyway, but that's for the experts to tell you. There's a thing on the internet called Paint Society, and the guy there really does a good job of explaining all this stuff and making it easy to understand, even though you still do get nervous about putting a coat of paint on. And his line is, don't worry, it's only paint, but you get kind of nervous about it anyhow. And I know why, because the last time I was here we didn't have such a nice result. Anyway, no, maybe I'll just cut this one off here, and I'll come back tomorrow and finish putting stuff away, and then start a new one for next week. How's that? Maybe or maybe not. I'll wait till tomorrow, and I'll clean the dust off it and see how shiny it is. See if it's nice and shiny. Yeah, how about we take some of the tape off, eh? See if it comes off reasonably easy. Yeah, this time it's not peeling away the paint, eh? A little bit. Oops, went the wrong way. Got to be careful how you peel it, because it'll peel the paint. This is all going to be underneath the window seal, so it's not a critical thing, right? A little bit of the clear comes with it, but not much. Oh, there. That goes. Well, I'm a big believer in the paper now instead of the plastic stuff. Down, and there it goes. So let's have a look at the paint. You can see right through the car. How do you like that? Looks pretty darn good. Everywhere. Let me get a light, and I'll just shine a light while we're doing that. Let me find my light. There it is. Let me see if it has power to it. Yes, it does. And you know, not even one run. I haven't found a run anywhere. So we're pretty good. And the nose looks great. I love it. Anyway, have a look at the roof. Yeah, I like it when the light just shines on it and reflects like that. That's a nice deep paint job. That's really nice. I'm liking that. See that little bit of dust right there left over? I wiped it off with the cloth, but I missed that bit. But all that dust just comes right off, and even down here. Looks good. And that's where all of that, the other clear coat had reacted, and I left a little tiny bit right there just for posterity's sake that you can see of the other kind of paint. But it all worked out pretty good. You still see, I don't know if I can find them, but there's a couple of, like, does that catch that? There is a swirl mark right here that's underneath the paint from the sander. But there's a couple of them on the car, and there's a couple on the roof. But I'm not gonna fuss about it. Like that turned out really nice, that paint job. I'm happily impressed with it. I'm just you could say that's getting to be, I'm getting a little bit better at this painting business every time I do one, but I've done enough now that I should be getting reasonably good at it, right? But you get real nervous when you start painting a car because you get scared of getting all of the runs and things like that happen. Now, what was I doing last week? Well, last week and the week before, I was doing a bunch of mapping work. But if you look somewhere up in here or down there or somewhere, I'll put a link to a little video of what I did. And it's only like 5 minutes long or 7 minutes long, so it's not like an epic journey like these car things are. So I'll finish off getting the tape off it, then we'll see how it looks. Yeah, there you go. That's all the tape cleaned off. Well, so most of it. There'll be more tape for life, right? So you spend all this time taping a car up so you can spend the rest of your life getting it off. It takes about 2 hours to put the tape on, and then about a lifetime to get the rest of the tape off. I'll be picking tape off of here for years, right? Anyhow, that's looking pretty good. I'm quite happy with that paint job. I'm pretty sure that'll be fine. So now I'll get rid of that paper here soon, but not a big rush for that. So I think I'll cut this off here. If you've had enough of it now. Looking good. Looking all right. Hope you enjoyed it all and finally got it painted to a reasonable paint job. That was disappointing after the first time round, but I guess that's why you keep on trying. Anyway, see you later. Okay, May 22nd, finally. The sun's out. I don't know what that yellow orb is up there in the sky. It's all new to here. And it's reasonably nice and warm today. It's been cold and windy and awful. But no wind today. Nice reflections on the pond. And the red-winged blackbirds are all out doing their red-winged blackbird stuff. Now, I did have a dog with me, but I don't know where he is now. Yep, somewhere there's a dog. Yeah, here he comes. Everybody wanted to see you and you weren't here. Hey, everybody wanted to see you and you weren't here. Yeah, so I still have a dog with me. He must have been chasing a squirrel or something. Chasing something good. Okay, see you later.